So, good morning. First year Bcom Computer Applications Semester 1 Unit 2 and first year BA Computer Applications Semester 1 Programming in C Basics of Computers, that is Programming in C Unit 1. Today's topic is storage devices. Storage devices, it is an essay type question. So, we will start the PPT. So, magnetic storage. So, what are the different storage devices or storage media used? Magnetic tapes, magnetic drums, magnetic hard disks, and like that. So, how the magnetic storage is used to store the data or information? Generally, it is exploits duality of magnetism. Generally, all magnetic storage media means hard disk gaani, floppy disk gaani, CD gaani, DVD gaani, magnetic tape, magnetic drums ఇవన్నీ కూడా మనకి మ్యాగ్నెటిజం అండ్ ఎలక్ట్రిసిటీ ఈ రెండింటి మీద మనకి వర్క్ అయ్యి పనిచేస్తాయి అన్నమాట. సో ఎలా పనిచేస్తాయి అంటే కన్వర్ట్స్ ఎలక్ట్రికల్ సిగ్నల్స్ ఇంటూ మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ చార్జెస్, capture magnetic charge on a storage medium, later regenerate electrical current from stored magnetic charge. So, that is the working of the magnetic material or magnetic medium or magnetic storage media. So, this is the simple diagram of the example. So, we start with magnetic tape. సో మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ టేప్స్ ఏమేమి ఉంటాయంటే మనకి స్టోరేజ్ మీడియాలో మనకి ఇంపార్టెంట్ కాన్సెప్ట్స్ ఇస్ మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ టేప్, మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ డ్రమ్, మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ CD drives, DVD drives, flash drives, all these things. We may discuss all these things and we may start with magnetic tape. So, first storage device is magnetic tapes. So, magnetic tapes are generally built up with ribbon of plastic with a coated, usually metallic oxide surface coating, mounts in a tape drive for reading and writing, relatively slow serial access. So, compounds magnetic leakage wraps upon itself. So, susceptible to strengthening, frictioning and temperature variations like that. So, these are the main features of magnetic tapes. So, magnetic tapes material is generally made up of with ribbon of plastics coated with some magnetic material, and generally this tape is mounted on a tape drive for reading and writing data or information into it, and it is very slow in operation, and the access mode is serial. Serial access mode means sequential mode. It is working with in sequential mode. What is sequential mode? Sequential mode means reading one by one record, reading one after one, or reading one by one record, very slow. Compounds magnetic leakage wraps upon itself. So, generally if the magnetic tape or the tape is weighed or it is damaged, the data information will be lost. So, it is also affects with temperature, friction, like that. So, components of a typical cassette, generally example is typical cassette drive, typical cassette or cartridge drives. So, this cartridge drive this is the simple example how a magnetic tapes are used. So, two approaches to recording data. Generally in magnetic tapes, two ways are recording of data is in two ways: linear recording and helical recording. And so the maximum capacity used for magnetic tapes is generally 1 TGB, but they are very cheap, means low cost. So, another important drive, magnetic device or magnetic storage device is called as magnetic disks. Magnetic disks means there are number of other formats are used with the magnetic disks. So what are different magnetic disks are available, like flat circular platter with metallic coating that is rotated beneath read write heads, random access device. Read write head can be moved to any location on the platter. Hard disks and floppy disks, cost performance leader. So these are the features and applications and characteristics of magnetic disk. So what is a magnetic disk? Magnetic disks means like which are generally used in CD-ROMs and DVD-ROMs, which are generally used in CDs and DVDs, which are generally used in CD-ROMs or CD-ROM and DVD-ROMs. What is CD? Compact discs. DVD means digital video devices, digital video recording devices. So these two are generally flat and they are in a circular plates manner, circular plates shape. Generally these are coated with magnetic material also. These two are also coated with magnetic material that is rotated beneath read write. Generally these discs are placed on read write heads. Generally these discs are placed on read write heads. Generally they can be packed and placed in a collection of number of discs, like it is called as a packet or pack, magnetic pack, and these packs are generally placed on magnetic read write heads or magnetic heads to read and write data or information. So random access memory, this generally in these disks random access memory or random data storages are used. Means records are generally stored in random manner, means not in a sequential or in a continuous manner, random manner. Read write head can be moved to any location on the memory. Generally there are number of read write heads, means all these are devices, small parts in the inside the device. Read write heads are used to read the data or information from the surfaces. Generally they are these disks are designed in like that they can be used on both in two ways, means in front and top way and bottom way. So every disk is generally coated in, but in CDs only the one way is used, but in magnetic disks, in hard disks, generally they can be coated with on both sides. So in CDs and DVDs we may use only one side coated material, and in magnetic disks, means generally in CDs, DVDs we may use random access technologies. సో మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ డిస్క్స్ అంటే మనకి ఫ్లాట్ సర్క్యులర్ షేప్లో ఉంటాయి. ఇవి మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ డిస్క్స్ అనేవి జనరల్గా ఫ్లాట్ సర్క్యులర్ షేప్, ఫ్లాట్ సర్క్యులర్ షేప్లో ఉంటాయి. మనకి ఎగ్జాంపుల్స్ ఏంటంటే సిడి డ్రైవ్స్ అండ్ డివిడి డ్రైవ్స్. అండ్ దీస్ డివైజెస్ ఆర్ మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ ఫ్లాట్ సర్క్యులర్ ప్లేట్స్ కోటెడ్ విత్ మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ మెటీరియల్. మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ మెటీరియల్ తోటి మనకి కోటెడ్ అయి ఉంటాయి. జనరల్గా ఇవి రొటేట్ అవుతూ ఉంటాయి. మనకి రీడ్ రైట్ హెడ్స్ అనే పార్ట్ మీద ఇవన్నీ కూడా ఉంటాయి. ఈ ప్యాక్ ఆఫ్ మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ డిస్క్ ఈజ్ కాల్డ్ యాజ్ మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ ప్యాక్ అనమాట. అంటే మనకి కలెక్షన్ ఆఫ్, అంటే కొన్ని మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ డిస్క్ కలెక్షన్ అని మనం మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ ప్యాక్ అని అంటాం అనమాట. జనరల్గా ఈ మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ మెటీరియల్ మనకి సిడి డివిడీలో మనకు ఓన్లీ వన్ సైడ్ ఉంటాయి, బట్ విత్ హార్డ్ డిస్క్లో కూడా మనకి కలెక్షన్ ఆఫ్ మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ డిస్క్స్ ఉంటాయి. ఇవి మనకి బోత్ సైడ్స్ ఉంటాయి. బోత్ సైడ్స్ టాప్ అండ్ బాటమ్ బోత్ సైడ్స్ మనకి ఈ మెటీరియల్ అనేవి కోటెడ్ అయి ఉంటాయి. రీడ్ రైట్ జనరల్గా వీటి మీద మనకి రీడ్ రైట్ హెడ్ అనే ఒక పార్ట్ ఉంటుంది. ఈ రీడ్ రైట్ హెడ్ తోటి మనకి డేటాని రీడ్ చేయడానికి, రైట్ చేయడానికి మనం యూజ్ చేస్తాం అనమాట. అలాగే ర్యాండమ్ యాక్సెస్ మెకానిజం యూజ్ అవుతుంది. అంటే మనకి జనరల్గా సీక్వెన్షియల్ మోడు, ర్యాండమ్ మోడు, రిలేటివ్ మోడు, డైరెక్ట్ మోడ్, ఇలా డిఫరెంట్ డేటా యాక్సెస్ మెకానిజమ్స్ ఉంటాయి. మనకి డేటా యాక్సెస్ మెకానిజమ్స్ ఉంటాయి అంటే జనరల్గా మనకి ర్యాండమ్ యాక్సెస్ మెకానిజం తోటి మనకి వర్క్ అవుతుంది. ర్యాండమ్ యాక్సెస్ మెకానిజం ద్వారా మనకి ర్యాండమ్ యాక్సెస్ మీన్స్ డైరెక్ట్లీ ద రీడ్ రైట్ హెడ్ goes to directly to the specified record by using random access mechanism. Serial access and random access mechanism ఉంటుంది. అండ్ రీడ్ రైట్ హెడ్స్ ఉంటాయి. రీడ్ రైట్ హెడ్ అంటే మనకి ఇట్ ఈస్ ఆల్సో వన్ ఆఫ్ ద పార్ట్. Generally it is used to read write the data or information on the surface of the disk వైల్ మూవింగ్ ద డిస్క్ అనమాట. అంటే మనకి డిస్క్ మీద ఉన్న సర్ఫేస్లో మనకి డేటా లేదా ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ స్టోర్ అవుతుంది. అది మనకి రీడ్ చేయడానికి రైట్ చేయడానికి రీడ్ రైట్ హెడ్ అనేది మనం యూస్ చేస్తాం. సో జనరల్గా రీడ్ రైట్ హెడ్ కెన్ బీ మూవ్ టు ఎనీ లొకేషన్ ఆన్ ద ప్లాటర్. అంటే మనకి మన మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ టేప్ లేదా మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ డిస్క్ మీద ఉన్న మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ సైడ్లో ఒక డిస్క్లో మనకి ఏ పొజిషన్కైనా డైరెక్ట్గా మనం మూవ్ అవడానికి రీడ్ రైట్ హెడ్ అనేది యూస్ చేస్తాం. అండ్ హార్డ్ డిస్క్స్ అండ్ ఫ్లాపీ డిస్క్స్ ఆర్ కంటైన్స్ మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ డిస్క్స్. అంటే మనకి హార్డ్ డిస్క్లో కానీ ఫ్లాపీ డిస్క్లో కానీ మనం ఈ మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ డిస్క్ అనేది మనం యూస్ చేస్తాము. హార్డ్ డిస్క్లో అంటే హార్డ్ డిస్క్లో మనకి ప్యాక్ ఆఫ్ సమ్ కలెక్షన్ ఆఫ్ మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ డిస్క్స్ అనేవి మనకి ప్యాకెట్లో మనం యూస్ చేస్తాము. అలాగే ఫ్లాపీ డిస్క్లో కూడా మనకి ఈ ఫ్లాపీ డిస్క్ is nothing but it is a small square sized device which is generally used to read 1.44 MB and general cost performance leader for general purpose online secondary storage. So generally మనకి magnetic disks అనేవి డిఫరెంట్ వీటి కాస్ట్ అనేది చీప్గానే ఉంటుంది. బట్ ఇట్ వేరీస్ ఆన్ డిపెండింగ్ ఆన్ ద కంపెనీ మ్యానుఫ్యాక్చరింగ్ టైప్. అంటే మనకి మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ డిస్క్స్ అనేవి కొన్ని రీడ్ రైట్ ఉంటాయి, కొన్ని రీడ్ ఓన్లీ ఉంటాయి, కొన్ని అలా ఉంటుంది. వాటిని బట్టి మనకి జనరల్ పర్పస్ ఇవన్నీ కూడా జనరల్ పర్పస్ స్టోరేజ్ సెకండరీ డివైజెస్. సో దిస్ ఈజ్ ద ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఆఫ్ ఏ టైపికల్ హార్డ్ డిస్క్. సో మనకి ఈ డయాగ్రామ్ మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ హార్డ్ డిస్క్ అంటే ప్రైమరీ కాంపోనెంట్స్ ఆఫ్ ఏ టైపికల్ హార్డ్ డిస్క్. అంటే ఒక హార్డ్ డిస్క్ సెకండరీ డివైజెస్ మనం చెప్పుకుంటున్నాము. సెకండ్ యూనిట్లో ఉన్నాము. సెకండ్ యూనిట్లో మనకి ఈ సెకండరీ యూనిట్లో మనకి సెకండ్ చాప్టర్ మనకి స్టోరేజ్ డివైజెస్లో మనకి హార్డ్ డిస్క్ అనేది వన్ ఆఫ్ ద ఇంపార్టెంట్. హార్డ్ డిస్క్లో మనకి ఇలా ఉంటుంది. కంప్యూటర్స్లో మనకి వేరియస్ కాంపోనెంట్స్ లేదా డిఫరెంట్ పార్ట్స్ ఉంటాయి. వన్ ఆఫ్ ద పార్ట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ as హార్డ్ డిస్క్. ఇట్ ఈస్ ఏ సెకండరీ స్టోరేజ్ డివైస్. Secondary storage device used to store a large amount of data or information or software. Generally hard disk is used to store large amount of data or information in the form of files, computer files. So hard disk is nothing but it contains a collection of some number of packs. Each pack is a collection of again some magnetic like that, what is called as magnetic disks. So each disk is coated with magnetic material on both sides of the disk, and generally these disks are flat and in a circular shape and generally coated with magnetic material. And generally read write heads, they are called as some parts or components called read write heads. Read write heads are used generally are used to read data or information from the from these magnetic materials or magnetic disks. So what are the different components of inside the parts of the magnetic disk means read write heads and tracks, spindle, ప్లాటర్స్, యాక్సెస్ ఆర్మ్. సో ఈ హార్డ్ డిస్క్లో మనకి యాక్సెస్ ఆర్మ్ అనేది మనకు ఉంటుంది. ఈ యాక్సెస్ ఆర్మ్ మీద మనకి ఈ మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ ప్యాక్ మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ మెటీరియల్ లేదా మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ డిస్క్ ప్యాక్ అనేది మనం ప్లేస్ చేస్తాం. ఈ మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ డిస్క్ ప్యాక్లో మనకి ఈ మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ డిస్క్స్ అనేవి మనకి కలెక్షన్ ఆఫ్ డిస్క్స్ అనేవి మనకి ఈ స్పిండిల్ మీద మనము ప్యాక్ చేస్తాము. ఈ స్పిండిల్ మీద మనం ఈ మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ డిస్క్ అనేది ప్యాక్ చేస్తాం. ఈచ్ ప్యాక్ ఈజ్ contains many number of magnetic disks, and each disk is coated with both the sides. Each disk is coated with magnetic material, and the data and information is generally written, read or write or updated or deleted on the both sides from the both sides of the disks, from the top side and bottom side of the disks. And there are many disks are there in a pack, and so read write heads are used to read, generally are placed at some arm, and these read write heads are moved on the surface of the magnetic disk to read the data and information. And the magnetic disks are divided into some sectors, blocks, tracks. So each disk is divided into sub tracks, and each track is subdivided into some sectors. Sectors are subdivided into blocks are divided into records, like that. So what is a track? Track is nothing but it is a collection of some curved shape area of all the disks. And what is a block? What is the sector? Sector is again a collection of 1024 or 1000 sectors. And block, what is a block? Blocks are again it is also a collection of some 1024 sectors. And what is a spindle? Spindle is used to place all the magnetic disks. Spindle is generally used to place all the magnetic disks to rotate very high speed with high speeds on the surface of and these arms, magnetic arms or read write arms, are used to read the data or information on the surface of or on the plates of the disks. So this is the organization of tracks and sectors on the surface of the disk platter. సో మనకి మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ హార్డ్ డిస్క్లో మనకి ఎలా డివైడ్ అయ్యి ఉంటుంది, స్ట్రక్చర్ ఎలా డివైడ్ అయ్యి ఉంటుంది అంటే ఇట్ ఈస్ డివైడెడ్ ఆర్ ఆర్గనైజ్డ్ ఇంటూ ట్రాక్స్ అండ్ సెక్టార్స్ ఆన్ ద సర్ఫేస్ ఆఫ్ ద మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ ప్లాటర్స్. సో it is divided into tracks, and each track is again divided into sectors, and sectors are divided into blocks are divided into records are divided into some bytes, and bytes are divided into bits. So in this form the data or information is generally stored in the magnetic so next another important term is magnetic disk access time. What is access time? How to use access time is the time required to access or get the data or information or record from the disk to the processor. So head to head switching time, and track to track sync time, rotational delay, most important performance numbers, average access time, sequential access time, and substantial data transfer rate. సో మనం ఈ డిస్క్లో మనకి ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఒక డిస్క్ ఉంది, ఆ డిస్క్లో ఒక 10 ప్యాక్స్, ఒక 10 ప్లేట్స్ ఉన్నాయి. ప్రతి ప్లేట్ కూడా మనకి టాప్ అండ్ బాటంలో మనకి మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ బోత్ సైడ్స్లో మనకి రికార్డింగ్ అనేది అవుతుంది. సో ఈ డిస్క్స్లో మనకి ఈ రీడ్ చేయడానికి లేదా రైట్ చేయడానికి, డేటాని రీడ్ చేయడానికి రైట్ చేయడానికి మనకి ఫస్ట్ ఏం చేయాలంటే హెడ్ టు హెడ్ స్విచ్చింగ్ టైం. అంటే మనకి మన రికార్డు ఎక్కడ ఉంది అనేది మనకి ఫస్ట్ ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేయడానికి మనము ఆ పర్టికులర్ రికార్డ్కి మనము రికార్డ్ పాయింటర్ లేదా రీడ్ రైట్ హెడ్ అనేది మూవ్ అయిపోతుంది ప్లేట్, మ్యాగ్నెటిక్ ప్లేటు. అలాగే మనకి ఆ ట్రాక్ కూడా ఫైండ్ అవ్వాలి. అంటే మనకి ఫైండ్ అవుట్ టు ఫస్ట్ వీ ఫైండ్ అవుట్ ద where the data or information or record is on the disk, and which disk it is, and which track it is, which sector it is, and which block it is అనేది ఫైండ్ అవుట్ అవ్వాలి. అలాగే మనకి rotational delay అలాగే మనకి more access time means the time. What is access time? Access time is the time required. Access time is the time required or time to get a particular record on the surface on the this magnetic device or plates. So what is average access time? Average access time means so what are the different types of different types of mechanisms? What are the different types of mechanisms used to read or used to read data or information? Is direct access memories or sequential access time? Sequential access time, direct access time. So another important term is called as data transfer rate. Means the time required to, what is the data transfer rate? The time required to transfer the data or information or records or a byte from the disk to the processor or to the central processor or to the main memory of a computer. So another important storage device which we require which we use very frequently is optical mass storage devices or optical storage devices. So what is optical storage devices means? Examples, the best examples are like CD drives, CD-ROMs. They are called as CD-ROMs and DVD-ROMs. What is CD-ROM? CD-ROM means compact disc read-only memories, and there are many types of CDs or CD-ROMs are there. CD read only, CD write only, CD read write only, like that. And CD drives are used. So CD drives are used to read the data or information from the CDs. Generally CD drive is a drive or an instrument which is generally used to read the data or information from the device or from the CD and used to transfer it to the CPU or the main memory. And another type of optical mass storage device is called as DVDs. What is DVD? Digital video devices. DVD means digital video devices or recordings. So these two are generally used basically used devices, optical devices, CDs and DVDs. CDs means generally they are used to store up to some 720 MB. CDs are generally used to store up to maximum of 720 or 700 MB, whereas DVDs are generally used to store up to 4 GB of data or information, whereas DVDs are generally used to store up to 4 GB of data or information by using DVDs. So CD-ROMs and DVD-ROMs and CD drives and DVD drives are used to read and write data or information using CDs and DVDs. So store bit values as variations in light reflections. Generally these two devices like CDs and DVDs works with optical storages. Optical means they can be used light technologies to read and write the data or information on the surface. Higher areal density and longer data life than magnetic storage. And so higher areal density and longer data file life means generally in DVD, CDs and DVDs, the data information or files are generally stored in long lifetimes. Standardized and relatively inexpensive. So these two are generally cheaper and standard devices. These two are generally cheaper and standard devices used to store large amount of data or information. Generally CDs can be used to store up to 700 MB, whereas DVDs are used to store up to 4 GB of information or data, information files, softwares, programs, games, like that. So uses, what are the uses? Read only storage with low performance requirements, applications with high capacity requirements, and where portability in a standard formattation is needed. So how these optical storage devices, like CDs and DVDs work? Generally, optical storage devices read data. Generally, optical storage devices read data by shining laser beam, shining laser beam on the disks. So in the optical storage devices, we may, for CDs and DVDs, we may use laser beams. We may use laser beams to record or to write data or information by using some laser beams on the surface of the magnetic material, on the surface of the magnetic medium, or on the surface of the magnetic material of the CDs and DVDs. So there are variety number of variety ways or variety number of devices are used. So they may use various technologies and storage formats and storage materials for optical and magnetic storage. So basically, two types of devices or technologies are used: magnetic materials and optical storage devices. So what is that technology and format? There are many types of or different ways of technologies are used, like CD-ROMs, CD write, CD read write, DVD-ROM, DVD write, DVD read, DVD RAMs, DVD read write, DVD plus read write, like that. So not all these technologies supports both writing and reading and writing. Only some of them can be used for writing. Only some of them can be used for writing. So the CD-ROM means it is only for recordable purposes, and once it is only once it can be used to record, and we may read many times. CD read, CD-ROM or CD read, both are same. CD read write means that is called as CD RW. We may use we may write write the data or information as many times as possible on either in CD-ROM or DVD-ROMs, and we may write many times also. So we may write many times, as well as we may read any number of times. So similarly, DVD-ROM is nothing but we may write or record the data or information or files by only one time and or once, and we may read it. We may simply read it as many times as possible. And DVD read write means in the DVD read write we may write the data or information or files many times, and we may erase it as many times as possible. It means we can rewrite as many times as possible, and we may write the data or information also. So next, another important storage device is CD-ROM. Another important, regularly used storage device is CD-ROM. So another important storage device is CD-ROM. What is CD-ROM? Compact disk read-only memory. Read-only data permanently embedded in durable polycarbonate disk. Bit values represent as flat areas, rands, and convex dip. So data recording in single continuous track that spirals outward from center of the disk. Popular medium for distributing software in large data sets. So variable data transfer rate. So what is the CD-ROMs? Compact disk, read-only memory. It is only read-only, not writable. Generally having capacity of 700 MB, 750 MB, works with only read-only. Data permanently written on the surface of the disk. The data recording is done in a single continuous track, and that spirals outward from the center of the disk. Popular medium, it is the popular distributing medium for distributing softwares and large data set values. So what are the advantages and the disadvantages or drawbacks of the CD-ROMs? Advantage means standardized format, high density, cheap to manufacture, means very cheap to manufacture, and cost price is very low, and high density means the capacity is high, storage capacity is high, and standardized format. So drawbacks means cannot be rewritten. There is no rewritten or write option is there. Rewrite option is there. Capacity limited to only 700 MB. So CDR, there are many types of CD-ROMs are available. So there are many types of different types of CD-ROMs are available. The first type is CDR. CDR means read. Uses a laser that can be switched between high and lower power, and a laser sensitive die embedded in the disk. Relatively cheap. Common uses is create music CDs on home computers, backup data from other storage devices, create archives of large data sets, and manufacture small quantities of identical CDs. So generally these CDs are CD read write technologies are very cheap or cheaper, and they can be used very less power, and cheap quality is also good, but cost is cheap, means low cost. Generally these are used to create music CDs or audio CDs on home computers, and to take backup of data from the other storages, and archives of large data sets, and manufacturing small quantities and identical. So phase change optical discs. Another type of CD drive is, other type of CD-ROMs are CD read write. CD read writes. What are CD read writes? In CD read write, we may read the data as well as write multiple times. We may read many times and write. We may read as many times as possible and write many times. Generally embed non-destructive writing to optical storage media. Generally CD-ROMs and DVD-ROMs are working with optical technologies, that is laser beams and laser technologies with magnetic material. So CDs and DVDs are generally working uses optical technology. Optical technology means laser beams on some magnetic media, surface media. Generally materials change state easily from non-crystalline to crystalline and then back again. Reflective layer is a compound of term like that. Examples are CD read writes. Another important technology we may use regularly or frequently is for data distribution is data DVDs. Generally these CDs and DVDs are generally used to distribute some music, audio files, softwares, applications files for taking backups like that. So what is DVD? DVD means digital video devices. DVD means nothing but it is a digital video technologies are digital video devices. Improves on CD and read write technology. Increased track and bit density, smaller wavelength, lasers, and more precise mechanical control, and improved error correction and multiple recording sites and layers. So there are many advantages of using DVDs also. compared with CD and CD read write technologies. Here we may increase track and bit density. Wavelength is small. Smaller wavelength and laser technologies are used, and mechanical controls are also used. And error correction, improved error detection, and error correction is also very less. And multiple recording sites and layers. Next, another important technology we may use is flash drives. So by using flash drives, we may store very large amount of data or information by using some flash drives, and these are very cheap and low cost, very high data transfer rates. So generally these flash drives uses USB technologies or USB drives or USB technologies. NAND type flash memory integrated with, and replacing floppy. Generally these flash drives are replaced with floppy disk and diskettes. Lightweight, generally these are very lightweight, compact means teeny or small. Compact means teeny and small, and lightweight. And minimal mode contains a printed circuit board. So very compact, using high speed technologies, high storage controllers devices, and flash memory chips and crystal oscillators and LEDs. All these things works with flash drives. So this is the flash drives or pen drives. We are also called as flash drive or pen drives, like that. So generally these flash drives works on based on earlier EEPROM technology, ultraviolet erasable memories, and EEPROMs, electrically erasable replacement technologies. So generally flash drives or pen drives are generally used the EEPROMs and EEPROMs technologies. So what are the uses? Very popular with network administrators, as they load them with configuration information as well as software, and used for maintaining and recovery. Operating system bootings, application carriers, MP3 music players, Windows Vista ready boots, and of course file backups, and many other things are available. What are the weaknesses? Limited number of erase and write cycles. Average device should support several hundred thousand cycles, but write operations will slow with the age of device, not as fast as fixed disk drives. Another frequently storage device is RAID, or RAID, also called as RAID technologies. RAID means redundant array of independent drives. Is a collection of techniques to interface multiple hard disk drives to a computers. So what is a RAID? It is a collection of technique or a collection of hardware interface to multiple hard disk drives to connect multiple hard disk into a single computer system, PC. Mostly they are a collection of techniques to store data redundantly on multiple hard disk drives. Only the first RAID technique, RAID 0, does not store the data redundancy. So this is the working of a RAID 0 technologies. RAID means RAID technology is nothing but it is a collection used to collect multiple hard disks, used to collect and connect multiple hard disks for storing large amount of data or information. Okay. All these are the about description about storage devices from second unit of Bcom, first year Bcom computer applications, second unit, and first year BA fundamentals also, first year BA semester 1 unit 1. So what are the summaries? Storage devices and their underlying technologies. What we covered: storage devices and their underlying technologies, characteristics common to all storage devices, technology, strengths and weaknesses of primary and comparison, and applications, disadvantages of primary and secondary storage devices. Okay, we will stop here.